I hardly felt it. I fall backwards. The rush of humid air leaves a chilling, graceful kiss against my fingertips as they instinctively claw towards my chest, desperately gripping at the air, as though I was trying to catch my own soul before it escaped its mortal shackles. It'd catch me by surprise if I found out I even had one. No, my insides were as cold and as empty as the rest of this once great city. Well, save for that piece of hot lead now firmly lodged somewhere in my ribcage. This was the land of promise, they said. They forgot the word empty in that sentence. Empty promises. The chaser of choice found on every crooked corner and darkened alley here. It'd make you numb to the pain of the real killer. A little seductive mistress called Hope. Lethal as arsenic and as unbelievably addictive. One hit of hope, and then it's promise after empty promise, until you've given all you thought you were to that fickle mistress, and she leaves you to rot. Left rotten and cold, just like me. Life sapping away from me in the special delivery from my own 38. Name's Wilson Rye, but most people around here call me Whiskey. I was the local PI in this town. I was the guy you called to follow that trail of empty promises back to your hope. Were you mine, Hope? Or was I yours, and you finally beat this thing? I guess I'll never really know now. Just the heavy, humid, sweet smell of cigarettes, and your fancy French perfume hanging in the air as I wait for the end, like a blanket cast and falling helplessly upon me. What I'd give for one more shot at the last O about now. There were 4 nightclubs that ran parallel from the harbor. Ophelia's, the Octopus, Osprey's, and the Oceanfront. But everybody called the Oceanfront the last O. It was the finest of the 4. The last one had been built and had the best music. And of course, the last O was always the biggest. It also kept finding itself to be the hub of the seedier vices. Guns, prostitution. Not that I didn't see the value of a good stiff drink on the regular, but what came in that night, the night that put me in the game of chicken with that bullet, was a damn book. A book and a ring. I'm laying here dying over you, a book and a ring. Almost sounds biblical, if it wasn't crazy. You swayed your hips into my office the day prior, with curves that'd throw the 445 Central straight off the overpass. Hair that bounced and fell like a silk ribbon, and an accent that I couldn't place. If I didn't know any better, I'd have sworn you were a siren. You say your name is Hope, a singer at the last O, and I'm lost in the addiction. You claim to be the owner of an old family heirloom, a book bound with a solid gold cover. You tell me that it never arrived from Defraudulenta's shipping company at the docks, but you know that it was on that ship. You saw the departure manifest. You tell me you need that book, willing to do anything to get it back before it ends up in the wrong hands. I know something's up. But the sudden sweet taste to your lips convinced me to chase that empty promise. Defraudulentas and I have history. Run by 2 slippery brothers, Franco and Louis. Franco had been weaseling his way into control of the city by getting a chokehold on everything that comes in or goes out. And it was Louis's hands that did the choking. Body of a brick shithouse, but less brain than a doorstop. I knew that if I was going to find this thing, the key was being plucky enough to get the drop on Louis. Unfortunately, he and I had gone a few rounds before, and as dumb as he was, he doesn't forget much. And he knew the make and model of my car from just the misty silhouette. I was going to need another way in. Larry was the man for that job. Clever guy. Real small fella with something to say about anybody and anything. Larry worked as a cabbie late at night and nobody outdrove him. He'd make his little Studebaker get up and tap dance if the price was right. A guy like that was worth all the jawing that he did. Talk like he'd never seen the sun before. Then again, I couldn't tell you the last time I ventured a gander at it either. Whiskey ain't the liquor you keep in the daylight. I fetch Larry on the horn, and in minutes I'm riding the back seat with only the passing strobe of street lamps to assist me, while I load my .38. Yeah, that .38. I lose count as Larry asks a question and makes a hard right, tearing down alleyways to the streets I didn't know ever connected. The kinds of streets that had begged for the rain to wash away the sins committed on them if they could talk. My chance to ask about how Larry knows these roads is interrupted by the subtle lurch of him hitting the brakes and killing the headlights. I step out, put my gun away, and offer to pay him, but Larry shakes his head, telling me that he's a cabbie, not a ferryman. He doesn't do one-way fares. With a smile and a nod, I tell him to keep an eye out for me as I slip in the back of the shipyard. Getting in is easy enough. Strangely empty, considering the amount of stuff stashed here. There had to be guards, but I wasn't finding them. What I was finding was more than enough illegal goods to put Franco and Louis away for 1,000 years each. But with each crate I'm opening up, I don't get any closer to that book. That's when I stumble upon it. A leather-bound box with a single tag, labeled just for you. But before I'm within reach of it, I feel the impact of Louis's right cross, like I just played chicken with a train and lost. I stagger to my feet and throw hands for all I'm worth, but a straight fight with Louis is a losing battle. It's only a matter of time, and mine was quickly running out. We barter blows with each other, as in he gets hit and I pay the price for it. Every now and then I get inside his huge range and come away without catching it. A mauve is on my jaw. I can take a punch, to be sure, but Louis is an executioner, not a pugilist, and with every blow the world becomes more of a spinning haze to me. Louis finally gets sick of me closing the distance on his countless haymakers, grabs me and throws me like a rag doll into the leather box. It falls open, and to no surprise considering my scorecard with luck. No book inside, just a ring. But it was still your ring, had to be. Box said so. So without thinking, I slip it on before Louis gets his hands on me again. He rears back to put out my lights, but with a hard thud and a look of shock, Louis suddenly falls hard to the floor, his hair tangled in splinters from a busted piece of lumber. The busted piece of lumber that you just struck him with. You stop me from wiping the blood from my lip and lay a deep kiss on me, seemingly happy to know I'm all right. Lost in that empty promise, I forget where we are and kiss you back without question. It must have been you that got the guards out of here, but in my haze, I forget to ask why, or even how. Which would have never mattered, because that's when the two of us have to backpedal from gunfire. It's Franco, peppering our position from the platform above us. His aim is as off-center as his teeth, nearly hitting his own brother along with us. And after pulling you to cover, I figure out why. He's got the book under his arm. The size and weight of it make it too cumbersome for him to aim properly. I tell you to stay put and hand you my 38, in case Louis wakes up and I turn and start to serpentine towards Franco. You try to tell me something, but I'm too worried that stopping to figure that out will have me catch a bullet. Of course, now we know the irony of that thought. Franco doesn't take the opportunity to take a shot at me as I run up the platform stairway, instead opening the book for some reason as he starts shouting some gibberish. I take that chance and sprint towards him, but I'm still winded from the fight with Louis. I'm not fast enough. Just as I get within reach of that greasy mop of hair he's got, something throws me backwards with a flash of light. Franco's smart, but as I recover, I wonder when he had the time to pick up chemistry. He really didn't seem the egghead type. Franco flees through the platform and down the loading bay as I give chase again. My vision's still blurry from the flash. I can't see what he's running toward. Franco's much faster on foot than I am. Years of cigarette, alcohol, and double cheeseburgers from Jimmy's will slow even the best of us down. That's when I hear it. A gunshot. I get a few more steps and realize that it's you. You used my 38 to put down Franco. One right between the eyes. My sprint falters to a jog, taking a moment to appreciate watching you bend low to retrieve your book before you look at me. Your eyes land on the ring on my finger, and your smile goes cold. I hardly felt it at all. As I clutch my chest, I hear you say something about regrets. Pulling the hammer back on my 38. I'd have a quip about it if I wasn't letting the last 12 hours flash before my eyes. You put the barrel of my gun to my forehead and tell me that you're truly sorry before you put me out of my misery. Only you didn't know that I'm lousy at keeping track of how many bullets I load when Larry's driving. The hammer clicks, and just in that moment I see what looks like the roughest looking broad step in and take a swing at you before there's a second flash. And by saying take a step, I don't think I saw that woman take a step. Almost like she flew. I feel a cold hand start to pull me up, but it's not the icy hand of death. It's Larry.
Good job, Lillian,
he says.
Didn't think it'd be whiskey to be the inheritor of the arsenal.
Larry? I ask. How'd you get here? I gotta get to a hospital.
For what? A new necktie?
Larry chuckles.
Look down, buddy.
My eyes drop to where the gaping hole in my chest should be, only to see a hole in my tie and a spent bullet on the ground.
This world's got rules, Whiskey. And the second one you learned is that the arsenal keeper can't be harmed by their own weapon. The third is the minute you put that ring on, you became the arsenal keeper.
What's going on? I don't understand, Larry, I say as I get up. Second, third rule? What is all this? What's the first rule?
I got a lot to explain,
Larry says.
But I've been telling you the first rule right along, Whiskey. The first rule is get my name right. It's not Larry. My name's Lawrence.